Flappers.
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 Flappers Comedy Club.
Flappers.
Flappers show.
Flappers.
Flappers.
Flappers Comedy Club.
I absolutely love Flappers. So much that I tried to hang the same colored curtain behind me at my house.
Flappers.
Oh, Flappers.
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 The Flappers Comedy Club.
Flappers, they're doing online comedy courses and online shows.
Flappers.
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 It's one of the greatest places on the planet.
Welcome to Flappers Comedy Club and Restaurant, where we're still celebrating the repeal of prohibition.
Flappers, great club, some of the best food.
It's awesome at Flappers.
Your food's amazing. Honestly, it's one of the reasons I try to do shows there as much as possible.
Sometimes I go to Flappers just for the food, and I'm not even working on new material.
Trust me, because I didn't get this way looking at food. So you can order takeout, they're doing that too.
Flappers has some takeaway food.
And you're going to love the food. It's great.
By the way, best food in the business.
Get some for the kitchen. Take it home.
Food's really good at Flappers, so if you do takeout, think about getting takeout from Flappers.
They got food. I've eaten it. And look how good I'm doing.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the Flappers Comedy Club virtual comedy show. We kindly ask you to abstain from recording of any kind. It's actually illegal to record the show. Just sit back and relax, turn off all cell phones and pagers, and silence all roommates, in-laws, family members, and pets. Once the show starts, please refrain from talking and making any loud noises. But please feel free to unmute your microphone and start your video so the comedians can hear and see you laughing. Are you ready for some show?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Are you ready for some show?
Yes.
That's more like it. And now let me introduce your host and MC for tonight's show,
Barbara Holiday.
Hey, thank you. It's so strange hearing my voiceover over and over and over. And I just think of all the changes I want to make to that. But welcome again, everybody, to the Flappcast. I think this is our, I'm going to say 30 plus something week. We started a course during the COVID crisis, and we're still continuing throughout this COVID crisis.
Is it still a crisis, or is it
Hey.
the COVID life, the thing?
Okay, let me introduce you to my co-host, Joshua Snyder, since he's talking already. Oh no, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Really? Ay, ay, ay. You know,
Which is literally, that's a quote from the show. That's what one of the characters would always say. Ay, 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 literally. Nicely done.
Actually, I know the Power Rangers very well, the original Power Rangers, specifically the Black Power Ranger, good friend of ours. He was actually in one of our comedy festivals.
Yeah.
Walter Yeah.
Zach, yeah, he played Zach. That's right, Walter Jones.
Yes, yes. You know the character name. I know the real name of the real person. Yes.
I live in a fantasy world.
Well, as you know, Joshua Snyder is our booker here at Flappers. I'm the owner of Flappers. And we also have with us today Paul Moonjean, our on-site class director. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. And it's been 19 weeks.
Oh, thank you. That sounds like some kind of
elephant. It only feels like 30 weeks. That's it's
only been 19 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
How
each
long?
month is 4 weeks.
So that's the gestation of COVID right now, huh?
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, I've only gained 19 pounds. It just feels like 30.
Wow. I think I've lost 19 friends.
Oh.
During this period. Josh, what 19 have you gotten?
The number of times I've watched yesterday's Enterprise on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Louise, are you kidding me? So normally if you're watching, if you're a regular viewer, we normally have our amazing Laura Hayden with us. She's got busy downloading an update on her iPhone, and I think you can all...
Don't lie! She got COVID-19 and she's in the hospital! Send prayers and thoughts!
Oh, no, Paul, you're evil. But Laura will be joining us. I'm sure she'll pop in and, bring us a glass of wine. Right, Laura? But until then, we have an amazing guest today. Someone who I have been known for years. I mean, he was a writer on the Jim Jefferies show. He's been a stand-up. I'm not going to tell you how old he is because he makes a lot of jokes about his age. But please welcome the very hilarious British comedian, Mr. Matt Kirshen. Woo!
Hey, everyone. Hey, I'm in the middle of trying to work out how to successfully cross-post this to my page. I'm meant to be relatively tech-savvy, and my thing's running incredibly slowly trying to work this thing out. I'm very... Oh, there we go. I'm impressed by you knowing Power Rangers. I don't know any Power Rangers, but I do know 2 Teletubbies, so I don't know if that counts for anything.
Did you just say Teletubby again?
Teletubbies? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Two of the original Teletubbies are comedians underneath there. The original Tinky Winky and then Poe, the red Teletubby.
Who are they?
Dave Thompson and John Simmet, respectively.
And did you work with them?
Yeah, I've worked with both of them back in the UK. They are, here we go. Actions. There we go. It's giving me the options to,
Let's watch Matt work out his technical difficulties.
I know. I don't use Facebook, really properly. Like I don't use social media for any of like the things I meant to do. You know, you get all these like, here's how you do it, and here's how you. I didn't optimize MySpace. I didn't optimize Twitter. I'm watching friends of mine get famous now on TikTok, and none of that.
So right before we came on, you were telling me you're getting ready for a live appearance with you have new equipment there, huh?
Well, this microphone is, just notice as well, there's a very cinematic ray of light coming through here, just coming through the shots. I don't know if that's showing up on the picture right now, but that's...
It would work in one of those Stephen King movies that's not one of his horror movies, but one of his, like, the Green Mile movies. Like, this is...
Right. Something's happening. Yeah, there's like a sort of... It's weird because the window is actually over there, but yeah, so I guess this is like the edge of the rainbow thing coming through here. But yeah, this was a birthday present a couple of months ago from my family, so that's my microphone now that will be coming with me to gigs when such a thing happens, so that I don't have to... Because, God, you know how disgusting a comedy club microphone is. You own several of them.
Hey, we clean them off after every comedian. We've always...
Right. Has anyone ever... I mean, I'm just thinking, you've only been around for a decade or so. I mean, I would think, like, the Comedy Store mic, which I think probably still has, like, Kinnison's DNA inside it.
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't think the mics are as dirty as people think because comedians break them so often. We have
interesting
that way. So, like the one guy who will never have a problem catching COVID will be Orny Adams, because when he gets on stage, he
drops the mic. Literally, we have in his rider, which is, for those of you who may not know what a rider is, it's when a performer tells us what they need to make their stage performance work well. And yes, I won't give away too many secrets, but let's say there's some microphones listed in his rider. So, because he would literally that was part of the act, right?
I think mine consists of your mac and cheese, or sometimes...
It is good mac and cheese, isn't it?
It is good mac and cheese. I watched them prepare the vat of the sauce backstage in the kitchen.
Hey, like, Matt, you could use a little fattening up there.
I think I don't realize until I watch a video of myself. I've got scrawnier in quarantine. I think some people, no one's stayed the right weight. Like everyone's gone one way or the other, and I've wasted away. I looked at a video of myself the other day. I was like, that explains why these shorts with a drawstring aren't staying up.
Are you eating regularly, or are you?
I am, but I just kind of forget to, it's odd. I'll get to sort of, because time doesn't really mean the same thing. So I'll get to sort of 6 p.m. and suddenly realize, oh, I had a kind of breakfast, I guess, maybe. I'm ordering like weird foods that arrive at different times. I've got a box of stuff coming from nutstop.com.
Nutstop?
Yeah, you know where you get. Where do you guys get your nuts?
Oh, well.
I'm still waiting for mine.
I work around plenty of them.
I guess technically I got my nuts from my father.
That's not. Mine.
So wait. Here's my question. Let's talk about your nut stock. What are your nuts? What do you?
Well,
pistachios. What's?
So my other half is getting the nuts. I actually can't eat nuts, but I'm getting a mixture of seeds and various other snacks. I'm getting some sunflower seeds that I will then process into homemade sunflower seed butter. This is who I am now, people.
Are you kidding? You're going to make your own butter with sunflower seeds?
Sunflower seed butter. It's like peanut butter, but made out of sunflower seeds. You can get it from Trader Joe's, but I'm not going to Trader Joe's right now because they don't have a delivery service, and I'm not going into supermarkets because screw that. So instead, as part of my Nutstop order, last time I've already done this once, got like a sort of pound bag of sunflower seeds. I
gotta look up Nutstop.
You just dump it in the food processor, hit go, scoop it down every so often. You need to give it a little bit of rest a little bit in the middle because it gets too hot, because it turns out it's quite arduous for the food processor to be grinding a paste. There's too much friction. Well, look, as it starts to get closer and closer, as it turns from just the sort of powdery grains into something more approaching a butter, as the oil starts to come out, as it really gets pounded down, it gets a viscosity, which resists the motion of the motor, and it starts to get pretty heated, at which point you need to let it cool down for a bit so you don't blow your motor out. It's just a little tip for anyone who is trying to make their own sunflower seed butter on an older food processor. That maybe.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I don't even have a food processor. I thought that my mouth was a food processor.
Oh, wait, you haven't lived.
I'm not much of a cook, so I don't have a lot of room for gadgets and such.
Well, you are currently sitting next to a restaurant kitchen that you own. So I guess you're in a slightly different situation, maybe.
Yes, I make my partner cook all the meals. And
right.
Really, they're still here, Matt, working hard in the kitchen, by the way. Dave Reinitz and William Nickerson, they're working on preparing food for the seniors in our community through the Great Plates program. We're a vendor for that, for the County of Los Angeles, and thanks to FEMA for supporting the seniors. And every day we make meals, 3 meals a day, and we deliver them to seniors around Burbank and Glendale.
So do the seniors pay for these meals, or does it get provided through this charity?
It's actually free to the seniors. They sign up, and then the County of Los Angeles pays us to make the food and deliver it to them. So
can any senior get it, or just the headliners?
I knew it. Yeah. Pretty much any senior. You just have to say you're old. No, they ask you your birthday and stuff, but I think
that's how they get you.
Over 65. So you can qualify, right, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
You would get our meal delivery, right?
At the very least, I'm sure the people examining it don't necessarily know what a British driver's license looks like. I've still got my one of those.
What are you, 16? You're not even old enough to drive. Look at you.
Just hit 40, Babs.
No.
Just hit 40. You've known me for a decade and a half almost.
Wow.
Because I think we first met at a NACA conference in 2008, I think.
Oh my gosh, was it that long ago?
I think that was when it was, or 2008, 2009, somewhere around then. It was either NACA or what's that other one that's like NACA but isn't?
APCA.
APCA.
Yeah.
This is, for the listeners and viewers who don't know, this is a racket. I don't know. It's a very odd thing where if you've ever been at a college and have had a comedian come through or any kind of entertainer, they have almost certainly been hired through some weird process where you fly to a hotel in Michigan, and you stand there like a sort of like some kind of in a little sales booth next to your college agent and get sold like. You know when you go to the mall and they're trying to demonstrate some new kitchen gadget? You're like that. You're like that. Your college agent is standing there with you and showing how easily cleaned you are and how simple and user-friendly and inoffensive you can be. And ideally, off the back of that, you get hired for a run of gigs around the middle of the country, hopefully a few in a row. And yeah, other colleges will team up with each other in the vicinity to hopefully buy your use of you for a week or so.
Don't you miss it, Matt?
Oh, I don't miss that. I do miss doing gigs in person though a lot. I definitely like the first Zoom gig I did because I realized because all my friends were starting to do them and I didn't have any, and so I put out a thing on Facebook and a few people, including yourselves, like sort of saw that and went like and then hired me for some. But that first Zoom gig that I did, I didn't realize how much I needed it. I didn't realize how much of an addict, how sort of sick we all are. But that first gig where it was actually ended up being quite a horrible gig because it was one of the earliest ones before people knew how to do everything, and it got Zoom bombed. Remember when that was happening all over the place, when trolls were jumping on, and like, so in the middle of my set, someone started like took over the screen, filled it with racial slurs and stuff. And like, it was horrible. It wasn't like, but even the first 8 minutes that I got to speak before that happened, that was enough to sort of refill my dopamine banks or whatever it was. Like, it was enough to calm me down and stop me from being an asshole.
Matt, I want to apologize for what my father did to your show.
It's okay. I'm just impressed your dad is sufficiently tech savvy to do that, because that
his pappy fought for the Confederacy and his pappy before him. Okay? We all come from Virginia over here in the Moomgene family.
You know, the bit I came up with about the Zoom bombing is that I want to Zoom bomb a neo-Nazi Zoom meeting. My face.
I want to bomb a meeting at actual Zoom. Wouldn't that be great? The Zoom managers are having an executive meeting, and we like,
all right, who forgot to change the settings? Yeah, it was very much the early days, and no one had really quite worked out what you are and aren't meant to do. But I think people have got their security settings down now. You guys know what you're doing. You don't let random people take over the screen sharing and all that sort of business.
No, we choose the morons who run our rooms. No, kidding.
Yeah, we hand select them.
Yeah.
You know, Josh is actually running auditions on Zoom as well, Matt.
I've seen, because I'm on the mailing list. I'm on your, I get emails every so often saying that they're happening.
And we've got people from all over the world, actually.
Yeah. Well, that is the one fun thing. That is as much as I really want to get back to doing shows in person. It is nice that I've been able to do. I did a show in Norway. I did a show in Switzerland. I've done a few UK shows, and that's nice. You know, it's nice to be able to do. There's a comedy club in Manchester called XS Malarkey, and I love those guys. They've been running this weekly show for 20 years. It's great. They run it right. They're amongst the first people to pay a lot. Me and a large number of my friends got some of our first paid gigs from them. And they've transitioned to doing Zoom gigs, and I got to do XS Malarkey for the first time in...
Hey, XS Malarkey! I
don't remember how long it's been since I got to actually do their show in person. Probably a decade plus. So yeah, there are little treats like that, and I think it'll continue. I was chatting to Josh actually a while ago. We were chatting on the phone about how things are going to happen, and I feel like that elements of that will continue, right? When we go back to doing shows in person, I think all the time and effort that's gone into working out how to do this business, there probably will be some kind of hybrid where people will still be doing online shows or in-person shows that are also streamed, so that these people who've got used to being able to watch, people who are across the other side of the country or even in other countries who've got used to watching these shows now, like, it'll be fun to be able to go like, hey, I'm doing Flappers on Saturday night, but also if you want to watch it in Melbourne, you can.
Well,
I'm waiting for the Zoom shows. I'm waiting for the technology where women can throw their underwear on stage in Zoom the way they did when I was performing live. That's really what I'm just waiting for.
I'm so conscious of the fact that like this is underwear right here.
But Steve, see, look,
like I'm very aware of like this drawer isn't always shut properly and just making.
Yeah, see, just like that. See what Babs is doing? I really am the Steven Tyler of comedy. So
I've heard people say that.
Yes, I know. It's very.
That's just because of the heroin habit, right?
Well, that yes.
Can I just say, by the way,
my daughter writes songs for Jerry Bruckheimer films. That's the,
Can I just say, by the way, that I'm hitting a major mind trip because I thought that dresser was like all the way on the other side of the room.
Oh yeah, and then suddenly I did that, and you realize I'm touching it.
Yes.
Little optical illusion.
It is that close. That's
is it?
Or his arm is that long.
My arm is incredibly long. It's whenever I'm like this, like God, I've got scrawny, and also I can see the bits where I've been cutting my own hair, and I keep seeing the bits that I've missed and like got imbalanced when I do these shows.
Matt, they should make a machine where you and I both get in and then just evens us out.
Yeah.
Just.
So, are you quarantining by yourself, Matt, or you have a significant other there?
No, I'm quarantined. You've met Holly. You've met her.
Yes.
She was.
I'm not going to say names.
We're quarantined together. We're all, I'm driving her mad, and we're on top of each other, and we've got a adorable but violent cat.
Oh, named
Douglas the cat.
Doug, yeah.
That's my middle name.
I don't know if you can see. I don't know if this gets picked up, but hang on. Can you see that scratch?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a particularly bad one because he got on top of he got on top of the dryer. We've got like a stacked washing machine dryer, and he got right on the very top of it. And then I was trying to get him down, and he was not having it, and he sort of panicked. So he's going back to get a nail trimming tomorrow. But he's also, there's another one there. If you can see that little, that's his mouth. That's his claws.
Do you want to? This might be a good opportunity to get Doug an adoption. Hello, looking for.
Well, we already accidentally adopted him. He was not meant to be It was a very unintentional cat. Our friend Trish, who owns a dog, or she has a couple of dogs that would not play well with a cat, and she discovered young Douglas as he was soon to be named. In an alleyway near her. She's got an alleyway near her house that's always full of coyotes, and this little scrawny kitten was just hanging around in there, and she's like, oh, he can't hang around in there, so I'll just try and shoo him away, and he jumped into her arms and started purring. So she's like, okay, now what are we gonna do?
Wait, Matt, did you say that the cat was raised by coyotes?
I mean, basically, he's a street cat. Like,
okay, no, that explains everything. Okay.
He very much he's a young street tough who, we've taken him in. He's got some adult role models now. We taught him how to box, and that's, given him some structure and shape to his life. We taught him Shakespeare through the medium of hip hop. And, we did all the things you meant to do to get like a young, unrefined youth and give him a bit of structure and stability.
Wait. Are you saying that this cat's life is basically the Jungle Book meets Dangerous Minds?
That's exactly what's going on. Yeah. But every so often he's still got a little bit of the street kid in him, and he doesn't know how to play is the issue.
May I ask a question?
He thinks it's playing by tussling and then leaping up and biting on your arm is what happens. And then
I have to see Doug before this episode ends, please.
I'll see if I can. Hang on.
Matt's gonna die.
Yeah.
See Doug.
I have my throat.
What I'll do is I'll open this door and see if he comes in, because he does tend to.
I don't think a cat can be this mean. I really don't.
Oh, cats are evil.
Let's talk about.
He makes his way over here and.
Like dogs are vicious, but cats are evil.
Hey, by the way, Matt, if you want to build your social media, all you need to do is just film your cat in 1 minute increments for a year, and then you'll have your own.
Oh yeah. Well, I did get an adorable picture about 10 minutes before we started recording, because I already had the mic and everything set up, and I got a picture of him just sort of sitting in front of the microphone, looking like he was about to do a podcast. So that's going online. That's happening.
Pod cats. Get it? Pod cats. See, at Flappers University.
It's a winner.
That's not
Can
bad.
can I chime in with a question? Why
Please.
was it necessary to get the cat off of the top of the dryer?
Well, because firstly, he was very high up, and I didn't know he was able to get back down again. In fact, I wasn't even sure entirely how he got up there. I think he went washing machine to boiler to dryer. But also he started to knock stuff off that I thought was safe because I thought that was out of his range, including a canister of car air conditioner refrigerant, which is toxic, and he knocked from the top of the dryer onto the ground. Luckily, like, it landed on some stuff that broke its fall. So I was like, he's going to destroy a lot of things. I'm going to get him off this. And it turns out I think he scared himself up there and was a little unsure.
I see.
I never understand when cats run up telephone poles, why we have to save them. They got up there in the first place. They sure as hell could get down, right? I mean,
they normally can, and he did manage to get himself down off the dryer in the end. Hang on, here's if you can see this. This is what he looks like about to podcast.
Oh.
There we go. He may or may not work his way in here. I think he might be napping right now.
See, this is how I know you're 40, Matt.
Yep.
Someone younger would have shared the screen with us, but you just hold your phone.
I figured he had it. So how do I?
I like that the cat.
Paul, how do I telephone this to my friends? How do I telephone the picture to
You know what I like about that picture? It's kind of like the spirit of Mark Maron, but with the aggression of Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Here's Holly's just brought in Douglas.
There we go.
Here he is. Here is young Douglas.
We're recording, right? Just in case.
He's a tuxedo cat, so we've now got him he now has a bow tie going on as well. He's got a little...
We're going to get so many more followers. Josh, there must be comments.
No, actually, he's scratching you. You're putting clothes on it.
I know. Yeah, he's getting ideas above his station.
We did get a comment from Gordon who says he listens to Probably Science and is a huge fan. So.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in as well. I've talked about Doug before on the show. I could also show you the shower curtains that he shredded like some horror film scene. There he goes. He hides in the we had to stop having the shower curtain drawn. The shower curtain has to constantly be open because otherwise he hides in the bath behind the shower curtain and then just leaps through it at you like some slasher film.
That's horrifying.
It's but you just saw how adorable was he when he was being adorable? How can you not love that thing apart from the fact that he does stuff like this to my arm?
I got to be honest with you. Even in his adorableness, he does kind of exude a "don't fuck with me" attitude.
He does. He was a Highland Park street kid. That's where our friend Trish found him. He was in Highland Park on the streets, but in Coyote Land, and she's like, and he was too domesticated as well, though. We reckon he probably lived with some humans for a bit because he knew how to use a litter box. He knew how to sit on someone's lap and purr and get fed. So he's got all the trappings of someone who did a cat that spent some time with humans, but there's also a good 3 or 4 months of feral in him as well. Like where he was fending for himself. He was eating whatever scraps he could find. He was killing some stray animals.
I think he's pissed that you just named him Doug. I mean,
that's
Fluffy, better choice, but
what did you suggest as an alternative?
Fluffy or something softer, but it's like, I'm Doug.
See, they were all on the table, but Holly went with Doug. Holly just decided he looked too much like a Doug, and that's what it does sound irritatingly close to dog as well.
Might I suggest the Black Power Ranger?
Yeah. Did the Power Rangers have individual names, or were they just named after their colors?
No, Zach was the Black Ranger.
Okay.
Josh can tell you all the other ones because he must know.
In the teenage world, they had names.
But
right.
They had their alter egos had names, but when they converted to Power Ranger form, then they were just named after their
Their color.
Their
yes.
color.
Yes, correct.
And yeah, the pink one. It's not in your picture, Josh. There was a pink one.
Oh, it is. No, she's right there. She's on my left.
Ah, I see.
Far it just looks like there's sort of two reds. I guess the
Yeah.
tone.
Yeah, there's a tone problem, but that is supposed to be the Pink Ranger.
Okay. I didn't know.
That was Kimberly, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not mistaken. Yeah.
God, that would be an incredibly tough, but maybe doable trivia question that would only. I don't think it would work in America because you don't have the sport, but it would be matching the Power Ranger names to the ball value in snooker. Or what's going on here, and it would just be a list of the names of each of the, and then the numbers like 2, 3, 4.
Hey, here's some fun nerdy trivia. You will notice that the Yellow Ranger does not have a skirt, but the Pink Ranger does, and that's because in the original version, the Yellow Ranger was played by a dude.
Interesting.
American version, they cast a lady.
There's no brown Power Ranger. That's the one color that's missing from the snooker table, but they've got all the others.
Did anybody here watch the Netflix documentary that was about the Power Rangers converting from a TV show into toys?
Yes, the toys that made us. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, did you watch any of those?
No,
Netflix?
but I heard it was a good series.
All of them are amazing. Even like the ones you would be like, oh, I don't want to know about My Little Pony. Like halfway through, you're like, those bastards. You know, you get really into it. And but the Power Rangers thing, it's fascinating when you think about it. They just took the raw footage and then worked a whole show around it. So they're like writing episodes, and then they cut to fighting, then back to trying to get, enough grades on their test to win the prize or something. It was the weirdest show.
So they constructed the show. They filmed it first, and then they wrote it.
No, the show was a Japanese like B-rated show.
Okay.
What they did is they took the previously made Japanese B-rated show, redubbed it, and then hired non-union American actors to film all the scenes of them outside of the outfits.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's like if you took like 20 minutes of Cheers and then just rewrote stuff around it.
That makes it so all the fight scenes of the Japanese actors, and then it cuts to and then they just film like a sort of extra teen drama with them out of the costumes, but using Americans.
Notice Josh said non-union. That's exactly right. Like my friend was one of those, and then it got hugely popular. And
then the repeats. I think about some of those some shows that I've worked on that are non-union, where you look at like at least half the comedy circuit. I wrote on a season of Ridiculousness on MTV. And I say I was a consulting producer, which is the non-union version of writer. And goddamn, the amount that, if you look on MTV, it is nothing but that show. That show is if that was a union show and I had residuals, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be sitting in front of a dresser that is that may or may not, that is a lot closer than you thought it was.
When I worked on reality TV, I worked on a show called Greatest American Dog, and it was a show about people who lived with their dogs like in a Big Brother style. And they had a guy that sat around and did nothing all day. And I finally went up to him one day, like, "What are you?" He goes, "Oh, I'm the hired comedian to write jokes."
Yeah.
And I go, "What do you do?" And he goes, "I sit here, and if I think of a joke, I give it to the producer. They're paying me $1,500 a week, kid, to just sit here and eat the omelet bar."
Did they discuss who was the final Greatest American Dog? Did they announce a winner?
Yes. In fact, the show was so unsuccessful that it started on CBS in the summer of 2008. It replaced Survivor for like the summer. Opening ratings 28 million. Next week 12. The following week 4. And ended its season on CBS.com as the very first digital virtual show ending in the history of television. And some guy won $1 million because him and his giant dog, the guy from Kentucky, and they won. He was kind of a heartthrob guy. They were hoping to turn him into some type of big CBS star, and no, it just didn't work out.
Wasn't to be.
It's a terrible show. It was terrible.
Poor guy.
Matt, what was you tell us a little bit more about some of the shows you've written for? I mean, I know most recently was the Jim Jefferies show, right? Or was there something? Yeah.
Well, there's been a couple of things since. I did a couple of things for Quibi last year. Also, I overlapped Jim Jefferies with a bit of writing on the last Arrested Development season.
Yeah, what a great show.
That was a fun gig. Just to be in the room with those people. By those people, I mean the writers, not the cast. They were on a completely different location, but just the writing talent on that show. There's some ridiculous people.
What exactly did you actually write specific episodes, or how?
It was all room written. So they had 2 different rooms going on. Like there was like breaking story, and then there was rewrite, and I was in the rewriting room, which was the smaller room. So it really was just like either a scene was there that we went through, or the outline for what might happen in a scene was there, and it was just being written in the room with normally Mitch driving, but sometimes Richard Day or someone else driving, and then Jim Valley and Joey Slayman and a few other people in there. And yeah, it was just sort of like just going through writing it. They'd have the laptop connected to the screens in the room, and just one of them is writing, either Mitch or one of the writer's assistants, and then we're just shouting out lines as they occur to us. So it was a fun way to write. I would love to do more writing like that, because it means I'm much better at that than being told like, all right, go away for a week and come back with a script like it's a school project.
So on that show, nobody actually was assigned to write like the first beat draft?
I don't know for sure. I think there was that originally, but I came in quite late in the process. So I was there near the end when they were having like changeovers in personnel, and they were coming up to the wire, and some people had gone off to do some other shows. So I think they maybe did have that, but also the dirty secret, I guess it's not that dirty a secret, of most TV sitcoms that are room written, that have names assigned to the episode, is some work like that. Sometimes some shows really do have like a writer comes in with an idea for an episode, and then they talk about it and break it in the room, but then that person goes away to write their script, and then they come back and then do the rewrites. But a bunch of shows are really written by everyone, with the showrunner driving it. And then at some point before broadcast, they go like, all right, that episode's going to have your name, that episode's going to have your name, that episode's going to have your name. And you have it in your contract of how many episodes are assigned to you, but it's really quite arbitrary So I'm pretty sure if you look at the credits for this season, that season of Arrested Development, it'll have a specific person's name on as the writer, but that person will have contributed as much to 5 other episodes as they have to that one. Like everyone's sort of throwing in everything together, and they're all like, it's a melee of ideas. And
when I worked at Nickelodeon, we only had 4 writers. So we would send one to go write the script, because there wasn't and you knew you just were going to see that guy for a whole week.
Yeah, there are definitely shows that do work more like that, but this one is really like, it's this 10 or so mega brains coming into a room and like being filtered through the mega brain of Mitch Hurwitz, and then a script comes out, and then it gets cycled back through again.
Was there a particular character that you found easier to write for, or one that you gravitated to, of like, oh, I got a line for this guy?
Oh no, I don't know, because it's more just opportunistic. It's more whatever's happening in the scene, and just, I'm just hoping to get anything in amongst these brilliant, experienced people. So any time I got a line in for anyone, I was delighted.
And do you remember one of the lines you got in, or what?
I remember a bunch of them, but it's weird, because unlike writing, before that I've written for mostly like sort of late night and panel show and stuff like that, where it really is like joke. Whereas this is, I could tell you lines that were mine, but without telling you the scene and the context, they would make very little sense. But I definitely took a couple little screen grabs when it got broadcast, when it went up on Netflix. I definitely there's definitely 1 or 2 where I just like played it out with the subtitles on, so I could take a screen grab and go like, that's one of mine. I got a couple in there. A couple of them made the final edit.
Matt, would you ever watch the episode and then think to yourself that's not how he was supposed to say it?
Yes and no.
No.
I mean, that's happened that's happened more in the unscripted world with stuff I've written on. That's happened way more with like late night or with Jim. It was mostly fine because Jim really has, he's a 20+ year comedy veteran and just has all the instincts. Same with like a show like Arrested Development, where all the cast is just like their comedy acting chops are off the charts. So normally if they do it some way, a different way to the way you heard it in your head, it's a better way. But oh god, I've written on some other shows where, yeah, definitely where someone's sort of delivered a joke you've written and you're just like, oh, I guess you could, yeah, why not say it that way? Why not put the stress on that? Okay, yeah.
That's a choice. That's a choice.
So it's a strong decision you've made, and I guess that's how it's going out.
I'm always reminded of the Seinfeld episode when George kept trying to teach the actors how to say the lines in the pilot, and Jerry comes up and says, they don't seem to like it when you tell them how to say the line.
It really is. And you know what? Like, I think hopefully anything you work on, by the time it gets to that point, the people who are in front of the camera have been chosen because they are good at making those decisions and often are better at making those decisions than you are. So yeah, ideally, when it comes to a show like that, though, I mean, that show's so well established and the characters are so well established that you can kind of hear all their voices in your head anyway. So you're just like, I know how you're going to say this because you're going to say it because I was writing it with your voice already in my head. Because you've already gone to, both you and the writing in the earlier seasons have done all the hard work of establishing what these people are. And now you're just working within those tracks. So it's a different gig. But yeah, it was just a treat to, so it's all kicking off in Burbank.
Oh, at first I thought it was in Matt's. I thought maybe Douglas had gotten out and.
Yeah, it's he did get out the other day. He's escaped once.
Dr. Laura stole a car, and now they're trying to find her.
You quit saying things about Laura now. She's going to text you and tell you. I actually know Jeffrey Tambor pretty well, Matt. He is
cool.
A good friend, and also I used to go help him with computers at his house.
Okay.
Small world, right?
How did you know him in the first place?
Well, a friend of mine helped teach his acting classes. Elizabeth Payne, great acting teacher. She sort of ran his acting workshops, and then she introduced me to him. And this was actually prior to me owning Flappers. But I have the greatest story about him in a nutshell. I used to literally drive out to Pacific Palisades or wherever he was, but he was notorious for moving, like on a regular basis. Like every 3 months or 4 months, he would move, like completely move homes. Like he was in Malibu and then Pacific Palisades, like he'd move places. So I would show up at his house, and I knew him well. I would just walk in, or I knew where the key was or whatever, and I would fix his computer and then go on about my way. And one day he called me up and he was like, hey, there's ghosts in my computer. And I'm like, ghosts in your computer? Come on. It was like the AOL sound would go ding, boom, boom, when he would get an email. So I'm like, I'll be right there. So I rush over. I drive like an hour to one of those beach cities. And I open the door and someone different answers. And I'm like, is Jeffrey here? I need to do his work on his computer. And the woman doesn't speak English. And she's like, oh, yeah, okay. And I go, just let me in. I know where the office is. I'll let me in, and I'm just like berating I push past the woman. I turn to the office and there's no office there. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Where's his office? And she's like, over here. So I go around the corner, walk in this office, sit down at a computer and go, Scott, this is not Jeffrey's house. Call him on the phone, bastard. I call him on the phone, and all he does for 20 minutes, laughing hysterically. He's laughing, and I'm like, I'm at your house. He goes, oh, yeah, that's my old house. And laughing. I'm like, you didn't tell me you moved? So I finally get to his new house, and I'm telling you, Matt, he must have laughed. He still, every time I see him, he won't let me live down that story. He's like, you broke into my house. I go, I didn't break in your house. I went to go fix your, but oh my God, I just love that story because, how did he not tell me he moved?
Yep, and you just walked in with absolute confidence.
I felt like, oh shit, I mean, I literally saw someone else's like financial stuff and where am I? It was so strange. But anyway, that's what confidence will do for you.
Yep.
I just pretended I was doing.
I wonder who the other person was.
I don't know. And I hope they're not.
Comedically speaking, it would have been better if it was Gary Shandling, but I don't think.
Well, that was another thing, because one of the guy, Richard Day, who wrote on the show, wrote on Larry Sanders as well, which is phenomenal. And then, and then Jim Vallely, who's Mitch's right-hand man, who's just the best. So yeah, it was intimidating. They're all real talents.
Yeah, but you're a great, I mean, for those of you who haven't seen Matt, go watch. You know, I was going to say, Josh, we should have shown a clip, but Matt could he's been doing a clip for the whole hour, but go and look up Matt Kirshen's stand-up.
Oh, you're very kind.
I mean, and I'm surprised, did you have a Netflix yet?
No, I've never, have I done anything on Netflix? I've certainly not done any, I've not done a special or anything like that.
Well, you deserve one because
we'll see. Thank you.
One of our favorite headliners here, and the fans are always asking about you.
You're kind. I miss it. I miss being able to just drop in on your club and do some jokes.
Well, it's interesting. Do you want to go? I thought, you know, folks like you who've moved here and then began a career here, do you have any desire to leave and go back to the UK? Or
no, I mean, there are elements of the UK that I miss, and I do love going back, and whenever I go back I do some shows as well, and I do miss that. But I don't know, my life's here now, and also there's a lot of this in Britain. There's a lot of people in England who sound, it's just there's nothing special about me there. I'll just be another person with this voice. So it's nice. It's nice to be in America where I've got, you know, something different going on, something slightly different to offer.
Right, that's true. And it's sometimes accents make things sound funnier. They really do.
It's a cheat. My powers are useless back in England. Second I hit London, I'm just normal now.
For similar reasons, that's why I never go to Switzerland, because I just look like
it's just
everyone else, and they
love the Jews there. God. Oh man,
the hills are alive.
We're running out of time, actually. Josh, do we have any more comments before we say goodbye?
There's a lot of people that are just watching, but no one's commenting. So it's
hello everyone.
Oh, hey watchers.
We appreciate the watchers. It's kind of creepy, but okay. So Matt, we are working. This is where the point in the show where we all give our little updates on what's happening with Flappers, and then maybe you can tell our fans, your fans watching, what shows you're going to be up to next.
Okay.
So first, I want to just mention that we are working on possibly a live drive-in style show. It's not firm yet, but for those of you watching, it could be pretty cool. So stay tuned. It would be in Burbank, and you would be able to drive up in your car and watch a comedian live on stage, hopefully Matt soon, and listen through your FM radio. So we are just waiting for some final approvals and things, but stay tuned for that. And Paul, do you have any class information?
Everything for the Burbank Comedy Festival is up on both flappersuniversity.com and
Burbank Comedy Festival.
Well, I was going to say yes, Burbank Comedy Festival. So you can find all the classes. We are already starting to sell a lot. So if you're interested, go now. We have everything from commercial acting, taught by Willie Mack, who was in 3 Super Bowl commercials this past January. We have sketch writing. We have classes on we have a class actually on freelance writing for people who are interested in making some side hustle money during COVID. We are going to do a show called Getting Booked on the Road and Zoom. Okay. So for people who are looking to potentially, out of state, still has a few places that are still letting people produce shows. So we're going to have a lot of really fun seminars. Right now, also, I just did a count as I was doing kind of a monthly report. We right now have over 100 students taking multi-week classes and workshops, and we're doing a great. We have found that people are bored and they want to learn about comedy. And
bored in the house.
And so, and we, some of our instructors like Renee Percy, who was huge in Canada. Do you know Renee, Matt?
Well, so Renee who?
Renee Percy.
Okay, cool.
Renee Percy, she was really big in Canada. She's teaching our level 2. Josh is teaching our level 3. In level 2, we have Hugh Fink, who's teaching our sketch comedy class. He wrote, got Emmys for SNL. Gabe Abelson for Letterman is our late night writer. So all of our instructors come in with so much experience, and they like giving back, and we provide an opportunity. And with the Zoom classes, it takes away the worst part about going to class, which was the driving and the parking. So that's gone now.
Anyway.
Okay? So people literally, you Zoom in at 6 p.m. It's a 3-hour experience. It's a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of workshops for the Burbank Comedy Festival. 240 comics got in. How many people got?
For 250.
250, yeah.
250. So there's going to be lots of comics taking a lot of different courses, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah. We're not going to let the laughter die, folks. It's not going anywhere. Nope. I mean, it is infectious, though. Laughter is definitely infectious. Josh, who are some of our big names other than, of course, we're going to give Matt's date in a second, but who else is going to be here?
Well, Matt's coming, I think you're coming Friday, right? Tomorrow.
I was tomorrow. Yeah, I was about to say tomorrow night. I think it's, is it the 9 o'clock show? I think it's the 9 o'clock show.
The 9 o'clock Famous Fridays. Matt will be doing a spot on that show, so be sure to buy your tickets at flapperscomedy.com. And then we've got also, before that, which you should also watch because why not? We've got Deb DiGiovanni. She's headlining at 7 p.m.
Deb's the best. Right. Deb and I did Last Comic Standing together. She's one of the first people I met.
So funny.
There you go. It's smart.
She's one of those people who just, she was funny when we first met 12 years ago, but she has literally every time I see her, she's got a notch funnier. It's annoying how good she is. Like every single time I see her, there's just another gear she somehow found. She's great.
Perfect. Yeah, she definitely one to watch. And Matt, what other than our show tomorrow night, which hopefully you fans
Yeah, so I'll be there. I'm bouncing around a few little Zoom shows here and there. I'm still yet to do any in-person shows. So hopefully one of those will be coming up. And then probably Science, which you mentioned earlier, is the podcast that I'm still doing weekly. So we go through the week in science news with comedians, and then sometimes we have guest scientists on and we talk about their work. And that's wherever in all the normal podcast places. And that's really, there's various things that I've written on that are knocking around or been on. You can watch Memory Hole if you have Quibi. That's the last thing I wrote on. And then also I was just on a show called The Great Debate, which was the last thing I did before lockdown, which is on Sci-Fi. And the episode that most recently came out, I'm on with Jonah Ray and who else am I? Maud Garrett. Oh, and Iffy was on it as well. So yeah, that was and that's hosted by Baron Vaughn, and it's like a sort of nerd debate thing. It started at Comic Cons and various other things like that. So, it's like a debate format. It's really fun. You can watch that on Sci-Fi's website and Sci-Fi Wire. So check that out, The Great Debate.
Excellent. Matt Kirshen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We miss you so much. And
I
you soon. And hi, Holly. And bye, Doug.
Bye, Doug.
Yeah, Doug. All right, Josh, cue that music out. And thanks, everybody, for supporting. Hey, we got lots of events online. Just go to flapperscomedy.com. Everything you see there is really happening. People keep thinking we haven't updated our website, but everything that we were doing live, we're just doing virtual now and giving it as much love and running it with as much professionalism as we can. And I guarantee that you will laugh and cry and laugh again. So please join us on flapperscomedy.com, take a class, And look out for the Burbank Comedy Festival, August 9th through 22nd, 2 weeks this year. And there are after parties, there's trivia nights, there's DJ, there's drinking parties, there's shows, there's sponsors, and a lot of the shows are sponsored by some local restaurants. So we're trying to raise revenue by sharing the ticket fees with these restaurants that are struggling. So we're really trying to make it a community effort, or a COVID-y effort, I'll call it. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us for another episode of the Flappcast. We're out.
Bum, 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 bum,
Gosh, we
bum,
have real
bum,
music.
bum, bum, bum,
People
bum,
to sing
bum.
the theme
I
song.
switched out the laptop at the last second. I didn't have the assets. What do you want from me? All right.
All right.
There we go.
All right, we're out.